Moonlight and Shadow, Love Beyond Part 1, meeting in a small cozy town, lost among picturesque hills covered with dense emerald green forests, where the clean mountain air filled the lungs, lived an ordinary schoolgirl named Miyuki. Her name, like morning dew, personified purity and tenderness. She was a quiet and shy girl who preferred solitude and reflection to noisy companies of her peers. Her long blue-black hair, like raven wings, fell in soft waves to her waist, framing a gentle face with delicate features and full sensual lips. But the most attractive thing about her appearance were her large expressive brown eyes, which always shone with kindness, understanding and sincerity. In them one could see the reflection of her pure soul and rich inner world. Miyuki loved spending time in the old city library, which seemed to her like a magical portal to other worlds. There, among the dusty shelves filled with books, she felt in her element, immersing herself in exciting adventures and experiencing touching stories told by talented writers. She devoured fantasy novels, imagining herself as a heroine fighting evil and saving the world. Books were her best friends, advisors, and comforters, helping to distract herself from the grey everyday life and filling her life with bright colors and magic. One evening, returning home after extra classes at school that kept her late, Miyuki felt that her usual, well-known road through a dense, gloomy forest began to seem darker and more mysterious than usual. The trees, like ominous giants, stretched their gnarled branches towards the sky, intertwining with each other and forming a dark, impenetrable canopy through which the dim moonlight barely penetrated. A vague feeling of anxiety arose inside her, causing her to quicken her pace. She felt that she was being watched, as if someone's invisible eyes were closely following her every move. Her heart pounded wildly in her chest, and goosebumps ran down her spine. Suddenly, as if appearing out of nowhere, from the very depths of the shadows, separating from the trunks of the centuries-old trees, a tall and slender young man appeared before her. His appearance was so unusual and unearthly that Miyuki froze in place, struck by his beauty and at the same time frightened by his mysterious appearance. His silver hair, shimmering like the moon, fell in soft waves over his shoulders, and his face with its delicate, aristocratic features seemed to be carved from marble. But what struck her most were his eyes, piercing, sky blue, like two shards of ice, in which one could read deep wisdom and age-old sadness. His appearance was both frightening and mesmerizing, as if he were a messenger from another world who had come to change her life forever. "Young man, hello, I am Kiji. You don't have to be afraid of me." Miyuki nervous, Kiji? Who are you? Kiji smiling, I am the one who will protect you. As if sensing her fear and confusion, the young man smiled softly, trying to calm her with his kind and open gaze. His smile was so sincere and radiant that it momentarily dispelled the gloomy atmosphere that reigned around her. "Hello," he said in a quiet, melodious voice, like the gentle ringing of bells. "I'm Kiji. You don't have to be afraid of me, Miyuki." Miyuki, still nervous and not fully understanding what was happening, answered timidly, trying to hide the trembling in her voice, "Kiji? You? Who are you? How do you know my name?" Kiji tilted his head to the side and smiled mysteriously, as if he knew the answers to all the questions in the world. "I'm the one who will protect you, Miyuki. I'm the one who will always be there to protect you from troubles and dangers. I'm the one who will be your faithful friend and ally in this difficult world." Part 2. The secret of Kiji. Since that fateful evening in the forest, Kiji seemed to have dissolved into Miyuki's life, becoming her invisible guardian angel. He began to appear more and more often, appearing out of nowhere at the most unexpected moments, as if he sensed when she needed his help and support. He was always there when she was lonely and sad, when she yearned for warmth and care. He appeared when she felt lost and unsure of herself, when she lacked the courage to take an important step. He appeared when she was in danger, when she was threatened by bullies or when she was lost in a dark forest. Miyuki, initially scared and wary, gradually began to get used to his constant presence. She no longer shied away from him, but on the contrary, eagerly and joyfully awaited his appearance. She began to find comfort and support in him, sharing her thoughts and feelings, dreams and fears with him. He became her most loyal friend, to whom she could entrust all her secrets. However, despite their growing affection and trust, Miyuki couldn't help but notice the oddities in his behavior and appearance. His silver hair always remained perfectly smooth and shiny, as if woven from moonlight. His blue eyes seemed to see right through her, reading all her thoughts and emotions. He never ate or drank, never slept or got tired. He always appeared and disappeared suddenly, leaving no trace behind. He knew everything about her, even the things she herself had forgotten. All these oddities raised many questions in Miyuki that she could not find answers to. Who was he really? Where did he come from? Why did he care about her so much? What secrets was he hiding? One night, when restless thoughts and bad feelings prevented Miyuki from sleeping, she, tired of tossing and turning in bed, quietly went out onto the balcony, hoping that the fresh night air would help her calm down and fall asleep. She went out onto the balcony and froze, amazed by the beauty of the night landscape. The full moon hung in the dark sky like a huge silver disk, filling the world with its soft, ghostly light. The stars, like a scattering of diamonds, shimmered on the velvet canvas of the sky, and a quiet night breeze rustled the leaves of the trees, creating a soothing melody. And suddenly she saw him. Kiji was standing below, right under the balcony, bathed in moonlight. His figure seemed even taller and slenderer than usual, and his silver hair seemed to glow from within, reflecting the moonlight. But most of all, she was struck by his eyes. They shone brighter than usual, like two flaming sapphires, and there was something wild, primeval in them. Miyuki, holding her breath, looked at him, trying to understand what was happening. Suddenly, she noticed that dark, ominous shadows began to appear from under his clothes, like clouds of smoke enveloping his body. She felt a chilling fear sweep over her, as if she were witnessing something incredible and incomprehensible. And the next moment, something happened that surpassed all her wildest fantasies and worst nightmares. Kiji began to transform, his body changing and deforming, bones cracking and breaking, muscles swelling and growing. Before her eyes, Kiji turned into a huge wolf with thick silver fur that shimmered in the moonlight, and piercing blue eyes full of wild strength and primal beauty. Miyuki, as if paralyzed by fear and surprise, could not move. Her eyes widened in horror, and her breath caught in her throat. She looked at the huge wolf towering in the moonlight and could not believe her eyes. It was Kiji, but at the same time it was not him. Gathering her courage, she whispered in a trembling voice, "Kiji, what? What is this? What's going on?" Suddenly, as if he had heard her question, the wolf froze and began to transform back into a human. His body began to change and deform again until it took on its previous appearance, a tall and slender young man with silver hair and blue eyes. Keiji lowered his head and looked sadly at Miyuki. There was sadness and sincerity in his voice as he said, "Miyuki, I have something to tell you. I am not an ordinary person. I am a werewolf demon. And I am in love with you, Miyuki. I love you more than anything in the world." Part 3. Conflict. Miyuki was shocked by Keiji's confession, as if struck by lightning. His words, like a bolt from the blue, destroyed her familiar world and made her look at everything in a completely new way. A werewolf demon. How could this be possible? How could she fall in love with a creature from another world, a creature that was more than just a human? Her mind refused to believe what was happening, but her heart could not deny the feelings she had for him. She felt his sincerity, his love, his care. She saw his kindness and willingness to protect her from any danger. She knew that he would never harm her. However, their budding relationship, like a fragile flower growing on rocky soil, was in danger. Strange and frightening events began to occur in the city where they lived. Dark clouds gathered over the city, bringing with them anxiety and fear. People began to talk about mysterious attacks, mysterious wounds left on the bodies of victims, and unexplained disappearances. Rumors began to spread throughout the city about a sinister monster that roamed the night and attacked defenseless people. And, as often happens in such cases, all suspicions fell on Kiji. His unusual appearance, mysterious behavior, connection with the forest, all this made him the main suspect in the eyes of the frightened residents of the city. People whispered about him behind his back, pointed fingers at him and accused him of committing terrible crimes. Miyuki, torn between love and fear, between trust and doubt, could no longer remain in the dark. She had to find out the truth, had to find out if Kiji was guilty of these terrible crimes. Gathering her courage, she approached Kiji and looked straight into his eyes, full of anxiety and hope. "Kiji," she said in a quiet, trembling voice. "Is it true? Do you have something to do with these attacks? People say it's you." Kiji, hearing her question, frowned and looked at Miyuki with pain and disappointment. His glasses, usually so kind and gentle, were now full of seriousness and determination. "No, Miyuki," he answered firmly, not looking away. "I swear to you that I have not harmed anyone. I would never raise my hand against an innocent person. But I feel that someone is trying to frame me, that someone wants to blacken my name and ruin my life." Part 4. Exposure. Believing in Kiji's innocence and driven by her love for him, Miyuki decided to get to the truth at all costs and help him clear his name. She could not allow him to be unfairly accused of crimes he did not commit. Throwing aside her fear and doubt, she began her own secret investigation. She interviewed witnesses, examined evidence, analyzed all the facts and details, trying to find at least some clue that could lead her to the real culprit. She spent sleepless nights in the library, studying ancient books and legends about demons and werewolves in the hope of finding information that would help her understand what was happening in the city. She went around all the dens, listened to conversations and snippets of phrases, trying to figure out who was behind all these attacks. And soon her efforts were crowned with success. She discovered that behind all the attacks, in fact, stood another demon, more powerful and insidious, who wanted to seize power over the city and establish his own cruel order in it. This demon used Kiji as a cover to divert suspicion from himself and hide his evil deeds. Miyuki, her eyes shining with excitement and her hands trembling with joy, ran to Kiji, holding in her hands the evidence she had collected. She felt that she was close to solving the mystery, that she was about to clear Kiji's name and save the city from the impending danger. Out of breath, she stopped in front of him and, holding out the documents and photographs she had collected, said excitedly, "Kiji, I found the evidence. I found out who is behind all these attacks. It's not your fault, Kiji. You are innocent. We must stop the real culprit before he causes more harm." Kiji listened carefully to Miyuki and studied the evidence she presented, then looked at her with gratitude. His blue eyes, usually so calm and reserved, now burned with determination and confidence. "Thank you, Miyuki," he said in a quiet but firm voice. "I knew I could rely on you. I knew you wouldn't believe the rumors and wouldn't abandon me in trouble. Together, we will stop this demon and protect our city." Part 5. The battle. Miyuki and Kiji, united by their love and a shared desire for justice, decided to join forces to fight back against the real villain and save their town from the encroaching darkness. They knew that they would have a tough and dangerous battle ahead, but they believed that together they could overcome any difficulties. They devised a cunning plan to lure the demon out of hiding and into a trap. Miyuki, aware of her vulnerability to supernatural forces, decided to use her knowledge and intelligence to help Kiji in battle. On the night of the full moon, when demon powers are at their peak, Miyuki and Kiji met the enemy in an old abandoned castle perched on a mountaintop. An epic battle in the moonlight began, a battle that would decide the fate of the town. Kiji, having transformed into a huge silver wolf, furiously pounced on the demon, using all his strength and agility to protect Miyuki and defeat the enemy. He was fast and strong, like a hurricane, sweeping away everything in its path. Miyuki, hiding in the shadows, watched the battle, ready to come to Kiji's aid at any moment. She used her knowledge of demonology to weaken the enemy and direct Kiji in the right direction. The battle was long and fierce. The demon was strong and cunning, but Kiji, fueled by Miyuki's love and devotion, fought with incredible courage and dedication. He did not give up even when he was injured and exhausted. In the end, thanks to the combined efforts of Miyuki and Kiji, the villain was defeated. Kiji, gathering his last strength, dealt the demon a fatal blow, and it, letting out a heart-rending cry, crumbled into dust. The city was safe again, and Kiji and Miyuki, tired but happy, stood next to each other, hugging each other, under the moonlight. Their love had conquered evil, and their bond had become even stronger and stronger. Kiji, breathing heavily but shining with happiness and relief, approached Miyuki, his blue eyes shining with pride and admiration. He hugged her tightly, holding her close, feeling her warmth and safety. "We did it, Miyuki," he said, smiling a warm, gentle smile that lit up his face. "We defeated evil and saved our city. You were incredibly brave, you inspired me and supported me in the most difficult moments. I admire you." Miyuki pressed herself against him, and felt tears of happiness flowing down her cheeks. She hugged him back, feeling like the most secure and happy woman in the world in his arms. "We did this together, Kiji," she replied, smiling through her tears. "You were strong and brave, and I just wanted to help you. I knew that we could do it if we were together." Part 6, Confession. After the battle was over, when the last echoes of magic died down and silence reigned over the night city again, Miyuki and Kiji stood under the soft moonlight, looking at each other with love, gratitude and deep understanding. They had gone through the most difficult trials, withstood the onslaught of darkness and, despite all the obstacles, remained together. Miyuki, looking into Kiji's blue eyes, full of tenderness and care, realized that her feelings for him were sincere and deep, that they had not broken under the weight of the trials, but on the contrary, had become even stronger and stronger. She realized that her love for Kiji was not just a romantic infatuation, but something much more, something that connected their souls at the deepest level. She realized that she was ready to accept him as he was, a werewolf demon, a guardian, a protector. She was ready to share his life, his fate, his world with him. She knew that together they could overcome any difficulties, that their love could defeat any darkness. Miyuki, having gathered her courage and gathered her spirit, took a deep breath and, looking Kiji straight in the eyes, said the words that had long been hidden in her heart. "Kiji, I have something to tell you. I love you. I love you more than life, more than the moonlight, more than anything in the world." Her voice sounded sincere and tender, and her eyes reflected the depth of her love. She was afraid of his reaction, but she hoped that he would feel her sincerity and reciprocate her feelings. Kiji, hearing her confession, lit up with a joyful smile that made his face even more beautiful. He gently took her face in his hands and, looking into her eyes with love and admiration, replied, "Miyuki, I love you too. I've loved you since the moment I first saw you in the forest. You are my life, my sun, my moon. I will always be there to protect you, to keep you safe from harm and danger. I will never leave you." Part 7, Happy ending. After the sincere and long-awaited confession, Miyuki and Kiji continued to meet, enjoying every moment spent together. They walked along the quiet streets of the city, holding hands, laughing at funny stories, sharing their dreams and plans for the future. Their love became a bright beacon that illuminated their path, illuminating every day, making it brighter, warmer and happier. They often spent evenings in the moonlight, telling each other about their feelings, about their joy that they were together. Miyuki, no longer afraid of Kiji's secrets, got to know him better and better, and his demonic nature became just another manifestation of his incredible strength, his devotion to her. She knew that he would always be there to protect her, to support her in difficult times. Kiji, in turn, admired her courage, intelligence, kindness. He was grateful to her for accepting him as he was, for trusting him and believing in him. He knew that she was his only love, his destiny. They made plans for the future together, dreamed of a quiet and happy life, of a home full of laughter and love. They knew that their feelings were strong and sincere, that nothing could destroy their happiness. Their story became an example for all the inhabitants of the city, showing that true love can overcome any obstacles, that it can defeat darkness and make the world a better place. Miyuki and Kiji lived happily ever after, loving each other, supporting each other, and enjoying every moment spent together. Their love became a legend that was passed down from generation to generation, reminding us that true love can work miracles. Miyuki, clinging to Kiji, feeling his warmth and support, looked tenderly into his eyes, full of love and happiness. "I'm so happy that I met you, Kiji," she whispered, and her voice trembled with excitement and tenderness. "You changed my life, you made it brighter and fuller. I love you more than anything in the world." Kiji hugged her even tighter and kissed her forehead, expressing all his love and gratitude. "Me too, Miyuki," he replied, and his voice was full of sincerity and warmth. "I'm grateful to fate for bringing us together. We've been through a lot, but our love has only grown stronger. We will always be together, no matter what. I promise you this." They stood under the moonlight, hugging each other, feeling incredible happiness and confidence in their future. They knew that their love had withstood all trials and that now they would have a long and happy life. Their hearts beat in unison, their souls were intertwined forever. Their story, full of secrets, dangers and tender love, came to a happy ending. They found each other, feeling incredible happiness and confidence in their future. They knew that their love had withstood all trials and that now they would have a long and happy life. Their hearts beat in unison, their souls were intertwined forever. Their story, full of secrets, dangers and tender love, came to a happy ending. They found each other, fell in love with each other and will be together forever. The end.